Hello, hello, hello. Welcome as you join us on this live. I'm Nina Curtis, known as Chef Nina Curtis, and we're excited to welcome you to our live today. I'm inviting a series we're calling Plantish. Let's talk about it. And he should be coming in just a moment. If you're coming in and joining us, just drop in where you are joining us from. Hey, unClassic Foods, we're going to bring you in just a moment. And Chef Sesavec should be coming in. Dun,
Chef,
da, da, da. Hey, Chef,
how's it going? Happy
how's it
Tuesday.
going? I
It's,
don't see you. Do you see me? I know you see me. You see me? I see you.
I do. I do see you. Can you see me?
I can't yet,
Okay.
but I hear your voice.
Okay.
I hear your voice. Oh, I see you, Chef. Okay. All right. I think we'll rock and roll here. Can you put in the chat if you see both Chef Sesabek and myself so that we know we're rocking and rolling? We're going to get started. I'll keep talking while we deal with any of our technical IG loving us issues, but it's going to be fine. Can you see Chef Sesabek? Can someone just put in the comments if you can see him? Yes, awesome. Let's rock and roll, Chef. I don't know what's happening on my end, but that's not going to stop this party. So welcome to Plantish. Let's talk about it. It's a series that Chef Sesabek and I have started, kind of reminiscing on our clubhouse days and how much we love that we ran for 2.5 years. Where does time go? And we thought we'd bring it over to Instagram. So in this series, we are going to be speaking to brand pioneers, brand inventors, products that Chef and I found we have in our refrigerator, in our pantry, or we've seen products at many conferences we've attended this year, some where I presented, some where Chef Sesabek and I hooked up and, walked the floor together and just really peeped out new products that we also want to bring to the community so we can talk about it and we can have our community and guests also be able to ask questions to directly to the innovators, the pioneers of those products. So if that sounds good to you, thank you. You are saying we are both here. Thank you for that. If that sounds good to you, this is the place every Tuesday, 9 a.m. PT, 12 p.m. ET. We will be showing up on Taco Tuesday, and don't be surprised if we bite into a taco. Well, for sure, maybe Chef Sesabek. How are you doing, Chef?
Absolutely. I'm great. Yes, I'm on the East Coast, so over here it's lunchtime.
That's right.
Uh, yes, I'm super excited for this series. We've been talking about it for some months, and we've rocked and rolled on Clubhouse, and we did our thing over there. And now we're bringing it over to Instagram, and I just look forward to showcasing and getting to know these brands on a more personal level.
Yes, I agree with you. And I'm super excited for our first guest that said yes to us to really kind of set it off our official, plant-based, let's talk about it series. And we'll be weaving other things in. So don't get comfortable with us. But Luiza Villela is the founder of unClassic Foods, specialty mushrooms. And I first met her in Los Angeles at the end of August, where I was presenting at the California Restaurant Show, and she was exhibiting. And this is an inclusive show where there's all kind of products and beverages, and I was scouring the floor for plant-based foods, which I was delighted to see that there were so many plant-based companies there. But I spotted Louisa's unClassic Foods. She let me have more samples than she probably wanted to give out, and I was hooked. And from there, we spoke together, and I wanted to learn more about her product. She's out of San Francisco from Brazil, which is just, I love Brazil when I've traveled there. And then I went on to the Plant Based World Expo in New York in September, and Chef was attending, so we were able to hook up. And I presented a kimchi fried rice. and I added her what's called steak tips, oyster mushrooms, to the kimchi fried rice. And Chef, you tell them how that turned out.
Oh my goodness, absolutely phenomenal. Ate the mushrooms straight out of the skillet, and this is coming from someone that didn't really enjoy mushrooms, but oh my goodness, unClassic Foods. Luiza, you have something here, and I look forward to hearing about your process because we need to know what's on those mushrooms. They are phenomenal, and that kimchi fried rice, yes, I need an entire bowl right now.
It was so delicious. Hi, Louisa. Thank
Hi.
you for
Hi,
joining
I'm
us.
so happy,
Yeah.
guys. I'm so happy. I love when people I really admire try the product, love the product, and then want to share the product.
Well, we're definitely doing that. And Chef said, I don't know if you heard, I'm a mushroom lover for many years, but Chef was like, I don't know, Chef, I don't know. And he tasted it. He trusted me. We were in the back putting things together. Chef, tell Louisa what you thought.
Oh, they were amazing. The texture, the flavor that you had on them was just out of this world. And yeah, you have a great product there, and I look forward to hearing more about it.
Yes, so excited to tell you guys more. And it's always nice when you already have mushroom lovers because they know it. You know, mushrooms
Yeah,
can be spectacular.
yeah.
Um, it's just a matter of function and making it easy enough for people to trust that it can be added to your daily life without much hassle. But if you're a mushroom lover, you already know how incredible these products can be. It's just a matter of now making it convenient.
So, Louisa, let's back up just a little because Chef Sesabek and I know a little bit about you. We did the deep dive. We, stalked you on Instagram and LinkedIn and everywhere we could find you. So let's start at kind of the beginning. I want to know how you got to where you are today and how you started on Classic Foods. Now, I know you're from Brazil. And it's one thing for people to say, okay, I'm going to relocate to the United States from Brazil or wherever we're coming from, or maybe me from the United States to Brazil. But you came to the United States, started unClassic Foods, and I want to know what that journey was like and how it's influenced your past up to today.
Yeah, so I grew up in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Very meat heavy diet, very traditional barbecue family. Like every event was a barbecue, right? And I saw how meat was made in rural Brazil, and I just decided to completely abstain from it because it was a brutal production for the animals, for the farmers, honestly, for everyone involved, right? Because the efficiencies of meat production are just absurd inefficiencies, and I was like, guys, this is not gonna work. We need to do something else. Like we need to make another center of the plate, right? So I came to Berkeley because I found out it was the most like forward thinking city
Yeah.
in the world in regards to plant based and like veganism and different concepts of food. So I came to Berkeley to study for 4 years, and I studied biology and statistics because I always loved like population data, like what is it that people eat in the world, and um, I fell in love with food, product development. I was part of the alternate meat lab at Berkeley, and yeah, well, like it was the first alternate meat lab in any college, right? It was very a UC Berkeley thing before it became a phenomenon across the United States. And I started working for these companies, like early stage, like startups that were doing alternatives to meat and dairy. The first one was Eclipse Foods, non-dairy ice cream. They just had gotten out of Y Combinator. It was like the hype of like alternatives to meat and dairy. And then from there, I went to work for. I wanted like a bigger company feel, so I went to work for Beyond Meat for a couple of years, and I did all sorts of products: plant-based chicken, plant-based pork, plant-based burgers, everything that Beyond offers, right? And I loved it there. With me that much I wanted to make a whole foods the center of the plate. I didn't want to try to be meat. I'm like, let's just be better than meat, instead of being like it. So that's where I see mushrooms like play, right? Like the consumer outcomes mushrooms can deliver, given their high fiber, low fat, low sodium. Like it's such an incredible food that we need to highlight it for what it is. And that's always a big thing for me. Like make it whole foods and make it incredible. Don't try to be something you're not, because why bother?
Right. So I know you said mushrooms, but let's back up a little bit because there's so much alternative plant-based meat options out there that I think position to mimic the texture and flavor of animal flesh, right? And you, in reading about you and watching different interviews that you've had, you really stand strong on, no, it's really not enough to just have plant-based foods mimic meat. So tell us a little bit more. Why mushrooms? Why specialty mushrooms? And what did you see that stood out with being able to bring a product to market with mushroom base when there's a lot of people that haven't had past button mushrooms, and they don't realize that there's so much more there? What did you see was the main difference in the market that you could capture different from what's happening right now in the plant-based space?
Didn't get that.
Yeah,
Would you try again?
I always thought that plant-based meat was kind of the V1 of all of this. It's kind of what was the obvious solution to meat? Oh, let's just do meat, but with plants. That was in my sense like our knee-jerk reaction to it. Let's just make meat, guys, with plants. That's so obvious, and I bought that narrative for so long. And I like it, but I just never saw people truly fascinated with it.
Mm.
And that's what I think we're missing. It's like the early adopters that are evangelical about your product. That's what I felt we were missing in fake meat or plant-based meat altogether, is the lack of like massive adoption in the deep sense, right? People that buy it all the time, frequency of purchase. That's what I thought didn't happen, and that's exactly what I see with mushrooms today. Like people who like mushrooms love mushrooms.
Yes.
They're obsessed with it. They talk about it. They call people about it. They wanna eat it all the time. That's the depth of like obsession we need to get a product off the ground in the early days. It's like it's not just enough to try. Like you probably tried hundreds of plant-based product, plant-based whatever in the California restaurant show, right? And you like it, it's nice, but you're like, oh my god, this mushroom girl, I need to be friends with her. I need to get to know,
Exactly, and that's what has happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the mushrooms. Yeah, the mushrooms were the big, selling point.
Yeah.
And that's what I see is like people truly encourage and love mushrooms. And I do too. I'm obsessed with them. So for me, it was only obvious and natural that I'll try to make them a center of the plate and replace meat naturally by making mushrooms more present in people's lives.
That resonates so much with Chef Sesabek and I because I know the conversations we have had, right, Chef?
Absolutely, 110%. I just have a question.
Yes.
How many times a week do you consume mushrooms?
Oh, nowadays it's crazy because I do events a lot, so I'm
Yeah.
always eating.
Yeah.
Right? But I would say like at least five times a week.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a lot of mushrooms. But the great thing about them is that they are super, super like incredible superfoods, low on sodium, low on barely no carbs. They're high fiber. So I'm like, I'm gonna live forever, guys. And this
We need you. We need you to do that. You know, you talk about the lovers, and I'm a mushroom lover of lion's mane and oyster mushrooms and shiitake and maitake and black oyster mushrooms. I just went to a restaurant in New York that is the whole menu is mushrooms. I had 5 courses and didn't miss a
Yeah,
beat. But how are you challenging the non-mushroom lovers? Like I know Chef Sesabek is coming on board because you
Got it.
just flavored your mushroom so well. I didn't have to touch it. I had to, test it out, and then your oyster mushrooms, your nuggets as you called them. But how are you meeting the challenge of people that have only had white button mushrooms on I'ma say it, Sizzler salad bar when salad bars were all the rage, and it's just like an eyesore when you see it.
yeah. No, it's honestly a big challenge because most people have just tried white button mushrooms,
Yes.
or yeah, the champignon or the portobello burger, which they tried to make it a sensation that really never works. All the same species of mushrooms, right? And it's a bit depressing because people are like, "Oh, you do mushrooms," and they immediately their mind goes to soggy, canned white button mushrooms, and you're like, immediately no. um, but the good thing is that most people are kind of a blank slate to specialty
Yeah.
mushrooms. It's not like fake meat that most people have tried it and have their strong opinions about it. With specialty mushrooms, you will always have a sector of people who are like, I don't touch mushrooms, I would never, this is insane to me, immediately not. But then again, you don't need to please everyone, you need to please a sector of the population a lot. Like that's the core, is like you will have your fans and they are 70% of your business.
Yeah.
Mm.
The the 30% comes and goes, they eat it, they like it, but it's like not as intense. What I see a lot of companies doing wrong is going wide, trying to please everyone at first, and then it just ends up with low repeat purchase, low frequency
Mm.
of buying, right? So that's where most companies get killed, is not having a solid fan base, and that's exactly what we can do with mushrooms. But of course, you'll always have people who are like, "Ah, no, I could never eat a mushroom. No,
Right.
not on it."
And I also thank you for that because I think we have people that are tuning in and we have people that will listen to the replay. And no matter what's on your plate or where you're at in your home kitchen or commercial kitchen or a food service entity that's, really interested in learning more about your unclassic foods, we all need to focus on, like you said, who is our core audience? Our core audience at me at home could be who I'm feeding, my family. So I have to please them. And the other thing I really was excited about that Chef Sesabek and I both spoke about was your mushrooms hold so much protein or have so much protein, where a lot of times, that oyster mushroom that you get from the store, 100 grams would be about 2.9 grams of protein, where 100 grams of your oyster tip mushrooms offers 16 grams of protein. I mean, that's huge and that's very innovative. Can you talk to us about that? Because that's what I need people to realize. I get a lot of resistance, like, well, there's not really that much protein, there's just a lot of water, right?
Yeah, exactly. So mushrooms are like watermelons, right? It's not that they're low on protein, it's just that they are 95% water. So if you want to get anything out of them, you need to cook them. You need to partially dehydrate it in food science terms, right? You need to concentrate their properties. So oyster mushrooms fresh are like 3% protein, like you said, but oyster mushrooms dehydrated are 25 to 30% protein. So they're not at all low on protein.
Yeah.
It's just that you need to put them in the matrix that makes sense for them to be a center of the plate, right? Because you're not going to be eating your watermelon as your main, because you're not going to feel fulfilled. That doesn't have sustenance, doesn't have substance. And same is true for oyster mushrooms fresh that you see in the produce section. You're just not gonna be fascinated by them in the main course.
Yeah.
But once you put it in a form factor that makes sense for the delivery of the product, right? So in the nugget fashion, in the steak fashion, you can cook them prior, reduce water level enough that you're then left with a high protein mushroom, right? Like, so
Yeah.
you basically basically. They're not high in protein. It's just they are so high in water that you would never notice they are high in protein.
And Chef Sesabek and I pretty much surmise that, basically knowing that you have to sweat out that water. You have to not put it, put it in a dry skillet, let it release the water. Or as you said, we both have dehydrators, so we know what to do with that. So you're going to get a higher protein content, usually if you're eating dehydrated mushroom jerky or something. But I think it's such a key point to bring up for unclassic foods, that people really realize it's not just the ingredient, the product, it's also what you do with it, but you're not manipulating it in ways that makes it not a whole mushroom. So I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we see a lot with companies is like they forget that they are like my whole thing is vegetable first, guys. What we need to do is eat more
Yes.
vegetables.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the only thing we need to do. And like that's a way to bring vegetables to a center of your plate, right? Because most people see, oh, I'll eat chicken and then some asparagus, and I'm like, no, you should eat some asparagus, a lot of asparagus, and then maybe the slightest bit of chicken, you know. And that's the whole reverse order we are going. Like we should be eating lower calorie foods, we should be eating whole foods, we should be eating vegetables. The way I'm phrasing it is just put the vegetables in the center, right? Put the mushroom in the center, and from there you can get adoption to be a lot bigger, a lot faster, because you're not changing behavior change from people, and that's a big
Yes.
thing for me. Like asking consumers to, okay, no, don't have nuggets, don't have fried chicken. This is not gonna.
Mm-hmm.
People don't like to be told things, right? Especially not that. So
Right.
you can have it, just have it in a new light, make it be a vegetable. And that's one of the big things is like don't reinvent the wheel. Like nature is so good and it has been
Yes.
around for so many years. Why would I need to like go deep on like reconstructing one of nature's best gifts, which is this third kingdom, right? Like the restaurant you went, mushrooms. Like just let it be them.
Yes, I love that.
Wow.
Thank you, everyone that's joining us during this live. And I want to thank those that will watch the replay, because I know we're all busy and we get a lot of replay watchers. So that is great. We're thankful for Luiza Villela being here with us, founder of unClassic Foods. I know, Luiza, you recently had a birthday earlier this month. Happy belated birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Thank you.
And you also launched a year ago unClassic Foods on your birthday. I mean, what a double win to every birthday year. You remember that you started your company with that. And with, starting a company at your age, congratulations. What has it been like? What has the path been like? And what have you learned? Because I think, again, there are people out there listening, and whether you want to start a company or bring a CPG product in the plant-based sector out, or any sector, or you're just sitting, not just sitting at home, but you're at home going, well, I'm cooking my food. I think it's really important for us to have this opportunity to kind of get into the mind of this pioneer and see how she thinks and see what she goes through, because then I better understand, okay, well, maybe it's sold out because it's really in demand, or, there's a lot of things that go on in the back, and that's not necessarily the consumer's concern. But how has your walk been? What's your journey, and what have you learned at this point in your life?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a scene, right? To start something from zero at the beginning, like even where I'm at right now, everything is really hard. Like everything is nothing moves. Inertia is such a powerful force. Like it's tough to move forward, and it's definitely not linear. Like that's the impression I think most people get. It's just like, oh, you just keep improving and then things just happen. No, things don't just happen. You basically need to force it and push it into existence as hard as you can, and that means like having a lot of bad days. To be
Mm-hmm.
honest, it's just like receiving a lot of rejection at the beginning. No one believes in it, until everyone believes in it. It's very
Yes.
hard to like push your vision if you're not super convinced this is gonna work, or if you don't see it through completely. You kind of have to have this kind of unrealistic and delusional mindset to it. Because sometimes it's just you believing in it, especially if you're starting it alone.
Yes.
Your conviction needs to be so strong that it doesn't matter if everyone is impartial and neutral to it, because that's the reality. Most people will be whatever towards what you're doing. So it's important to find people like that won't very early, so they can be your support system in many ways, but also have enough conviction that like I'm gonna do this. This is gonna happen. It's a matter of time and perseverance. But in the end of the day, I cannot not see oyster mushroom nuggets not being sold in supermarkets. Like there's no way it's not gonna happen. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, do I have what it takes to make it? Like that kind of scene is like, I see it happening. Will I be the one to do it? And then you have to answer that for yourself.
I love that. I love that. I know Chef and I talk about it all the time, being entrepreneurs ourselves in a different capacity. So with all that you've shared, and you now have a year in, and you probably were thinking about it before you launched it, so maybe you've got 2 years or 3 years in, what is it that you wish you knew earlier, and how are you moving forward?
Yeah. Like one thing that like I kind of went into it not knowing is um again the neutrality of people, right? People are just neutral towards you and your concepts, your ideas. You basically need to force them to feel your vision with you. But one thing that I definitely knew before coming in is some people are truly incredible and will honestly help and make the world of a difference. You just have to trust them enough, fast enough, and that's one of the things. Like a lot of first timers are super skeptical about sharing what they're doing, sharing their mission, their vision. They're very like close minded and close knitted in a sense. I wish I was a lot more vocal, a lot more present in social media, a lot more out there with what I'm doing, a lot faster.
Yes.
Because people want to see the story, they want to see the hustle, they want to see the vision, they want to see the ups and downs of all of this, right? The day to day of like starting your company when you're 27 and trying to like get someone to invest in you, trying to get someone to buy your product. This hustle of day to day like resonates with people, and I just wish I was more open about it before, because you're so scared of failure in the beginning and all the time, right? But it's whatever. Yeah, like things don't work out, and there's so many horrible days, and I just wish I would have made it um more obvious that entrepreneurship is not, it's not cute. And it's not a breeze. So yeah, I think that's one of the perceptions people have, is that like, oh, super cool, she's living the life, and I'm like, it's 16 rejections a day. Like, good luck waking up next morning and like being all ready to do it again. That's the true grit that I don't think people realize, and I think they would like to see, and that I haven't shared. So I'm trying to change that, but yeah, of course, things you wish you had done differently.
I love that. Well, I know Chef Sesabek and I are true fans and supporters and want to do so much more with your product and explore. Where are you currently? What is your current market? Because I know someone in our comments when we posted that we were doing this was saying, I'd like to use oyster mushrooms, but I can't get them in my area. And so where can people, I want people to know where you're at so they're not running to the store trying to find you, and how will that play out over the next
Yeah,
year?
So I'm currently trying to get in retail, guys, like supermarkets. I
Okay.
just started designing the package, the branding. I'm currently only in food service in the
Okay.
Bay Area, so like small restaurants. One that I love that is all vegan is Sky Cafe.
Oh,
They are
yes.
South San Francisco, you know them. They do oyster mushroom wings and oyster mushroom barbecue. And yeah, I'm getting to a couple more restaurants in San Francisco. Next week, I'm launching a Balboa Cafe, a restaurant in the.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that one is great. I love them so much. But yeah, the real thing is I'm also in corporate campuses, but then
Okay.
it's can't really go to a tech campus and eat. But retail, my dream is to launch it early next year.
Okay.
So have the oyster mushroom wings in like Rainbow or Sprouts or Whole Foods local.
Yep.
Like it will
Air
be very
One, LA.
right if you're in LA, Air One, Molly Stones, all these places that make sense in the beginning for
Yeah.
more niche companies.
I love that. Well, we can do a launch party when, in a year before, we're going to be staying in touch with you so we can get the word out and keep people influenced, because the reason that Chef Sesabek and I are doing this is just for that. Newcomers to the market, those pioneers that we've been spending our dollars on just because we like the food, whether it's in our personal kitchen or our commercial kitchen, cooking for others. So we're so excited that you've joined us and made the time, because you're busy. It's like, 20, 30 minutes of your time is a lot, but we thank you. Chef Sesabek, what have you thought? Everyone in the comments, thank you for joining us. Best wishes, says Chef Nishan Shobi to you. Fabulous.
Yeah.
You're getting just hearts, hearts, hearts. And Chef, why don't you do what we do as we get towards the end of our program with Luiza, and just give some thoughts of what you've thought of what Luiza has shared.
Oh my goodness, Louisa, your story was just so inspirational and wow. Thank you so much for coming on and just being so transparent and just sharing your authentic story. I feel like there's so much to learn. I feel like we can all learn something from everyone, but your story was just like one of those really like grounding, like, wait, it may look glamorous, but this is real life, and you just brought it back for me, and I appreciate you sharing that. But I do have some questions for you. We are going into our quick fire question series, right? So these will be super quick. You can answer them in a couple words. So the first one I have for you is, what's your favorite travel destination and what foods have you enjoyed most there?
Brazil. I'm Brazilian, and my favorite food to eat there is palm heart ceviche.
Mm.
That sounds amazing. Okay,
Yes.
so moving along to the next one. What's your best meal you've ever had and what made it unforgettable?
Best meal I ever had. Um, I'm gonna sound biased here, but I had the lion's mane steak at Sky Cafe by Chef Kenny Ennis. It's true, like it's lion's mane steak, full force, mashed potatoes,
Mm.
gravy. It's just everything I wanted in a
Delicious.
steak that I yeah, amazing.
Wow, yeah, yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, you're winning me over with the mushrooms. I can't wait to try more. Okay, so next question. What book are you currently reading, or which book had the greatest impact on your journey?
So I've just finished reading Ramping Your Brand.
Hmm.
It's very as an incredible CPG book.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I'll definitely recommend it for anyone starting a company. Ramping Your Brand.
Okay.
Absolutely. Wow. Very good. What is your ultimate comfort food?
I vegan mac and cheese truffled. I just buy the vegan mac and cheese and I throw truffle oil on it. I know it's terrible, but who cares?
No, we can all hang out then. I know if we go out to dinner, what we're ordering at the table to share. So this is awesome.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. If you could collaborate with any chef, alive or past, who would it be and why?
Oh my God. Like, let's bring it up, right? Let's I think Derek Sarno would be a great one because he loves mushrooms.
Mm,
I would love to collab with Derek Sarno.
Yes, that's a good match. I was gonna say you better say me, but yes, that's a good
So we
match.
already are.
I know
yeah.
that's true. That's true. That's true. Okay, go on, Chef.
Okay, and what's the best piece of advice you have received, and how has it influenced your journey?
The best piece of advice was like the difference between people who make their company to exist and then the ones that don't is that the
Mm,
people that do it, they just don't stop. They just
that's
keep
right.
going, you know? Is that true grit despite unlikely and horrible events coming at you every day. That's the
Wow.
difference.
Oh, so inspiring. And the last question, what is your favorite meal to make using your mushrooms?
You know, I've been very, very big on po' boy sandwiches lately, and
Mm.
they're so big. I'm like, I'm just putting in breads and some mayo, some pickles, and some oyster mushroom nuggets and throwing it, and it's amazing, super fast, super quick, and I'm obsessed with that.
Yes, I
Now
love
I'm
that.
hungry.
Right. It's lunchtime over here, so I'm definitely going to look through my pantry. But yes, thank you so much for answering those questions and for sharing your perspective and your journey. So much
Thank you,
insight.
guys.
I want to
That
help
means
so many
so much
people.
to me. That means so much to me, Chef Sebek, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
thank you for being here and thank you for all the questions. I think you guys are an amazing duo and I want to see more of this. I'll be definitely on all the other Tuesdays. And yeah, super excited for what's to come for you guys and let's stay in touch.
Yes.
Lovely to meet you and lovely to see you again, Nina. And yeah,
Yes.
super excited. Thank you honestly so much for this platform.
Thank you. And Luiza, before we go, let the fam and those that are going to watch the replay know where to get in touch with you, where to find you, where to follow you on unClassic Foods here on Instagram, and what other handles would you like them to know, or how would you like them to reach out to you with their questions or interest in buying your product?
Perfect. No, yeah, yeah, I'll definitely put it on the comments. You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and I'm super excited. Also, come to our page on classicfoods.com. We're doing a rebrand, so everything will look different, but it will look better.
We love it as it is, and we're all, evolving, right? We're in the last quarter of 2024. We're stepping into 2025. So it's always an evolution, and we can only evolve, I think, if we're somewhere and we recognize where we are. We want to thank all the fam that came in live to support and welcome Luiza, letting her know that this is a safe place for her to come and share, that she can reach out to Chef Sesabek and myself, and if she has a message she wants to get to our community, we're going to share it. We're going to have her back. That's right, because I'm sure she's going to have some line extensions, but you've got to check out when you can. And Chef Sesabek and I are going to be teasing you a little bit with her products because that po' boy has me wrapped right now. So thank you, fam. Chef Sesabek, any closing words before we let Luiza go back into her world? I'm sure it's a world win on Tuesday, but thank you again, Luiza. Chef, take it away.
Yes. Again, Luiza, thank you so much for sharing your journey. I look forward to what's to come for you. Many wishes, blessings, and peace on your journey. And know that you always have a cheerleader over here.
Yes,
That's
yes, yes. When you think you're alone, we're right here with you, and so are many others, Luiza. We are just in awe of you and what you're doing. We support you. I look forward to all three of us getting into the kitchen. And fam, maybe you'll get an invite to come to a dinner that's every course mushroom based. But until then, have an awesome day. Chef Sesabek, thank you for being my co-host. Luiza, thank you for being here. And we are going to sign off. Give us a minute and the replay will be posted with more information that Luiza shared. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good Tuesday.
See you. Happy Taco Tuesday. Get those unclassic foods mushrooms in your tacos. Bye.
Bye.